I'm Sarah Normando. I work for the Town of Ste Anne, and I'm the Recreational Services Manager for the community.
What are the 3 most important traits you look for in an employee?
I think dependability is probably the biggest one that I look for. Someone who wants to be there, show up, someone who is highly dependable in their position, especially in my position when you're working with kids. I'm also looking for someone who has high energy in this position. I hire for my summer students, so a lot of times it's working with kids and stuff, so you want the high energy person as well. And I look for someone who's eager, new ideas, someone who's willing to develop new programs, someone who's kind of an idea house. They, roll with ideas and I want to develop this. Maybe they have past experience going to camps and they want to roll it into our stuff. It's kind of the 3 main things that I look for.
What is the first thing you notice or first thing you look for on an applicant's resume?
I would say the first thing I look for specifically for hiring for my summer program, for our summer camps, I look for, are they a student? Because we do get some of our funding from the government. We do have a grant, and the stipulation with that grant is that you need someone who's still a student. So what I look for is this position going to benefit them? If they're a university student and they want to be a teacher, this is a really great opportunity for them. It looks really great on their resume. So I look for that. I look for, is it going to be a great opportunity for them when I'm shortlisting them? I look for, not a super messy resume, something like have they had a job before? The youngest I go is 15, 16 years old for a support position, the counselor position. So I'm kind of looking for not messy and are you a student? Because that's the top thing we need to be able to get that government funding.
When an applicant is applying for a job, do you appreciate a cover letter with the resume or does the resume suffice?
I'm not picky on that. I think often, I teach workshops on resume writing and interview skills and things like that. I'm not overly picky, and I find this is often very overthought. A resume and a cover letter is a tool to get you the interview. It's the interview that really does matter more. How you conduct yourself, how you speak. I think that's what matters more. What I'm looking for is just order in the resume. Are you showing me references? Are they available upon request? Because that's important, right? Especially when you're working with kids. Do you have experience doing other things? What kind of experience do you have? A cover letter, it's a nice little introduction of them letting me know that they're eager. I'm excited about the prospect of working for you this summer, or it's like that one little statement they get to make to introduce themselves. So I don't discount resumes if they have them or if they don't.
What are common mistakes applicants have made during an interview?
During an interview, it's probably, the biggest thing that I see is, what if I need a day off? Or can I do this? Or can I take a week off? Or can I, that's really hard in my position because I'm giving you a 7-week full-time job, weekends and evenings off, which is a very hard thing to find when you're in university or if you're a student already. So that's been kind of hard. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of huge mistakes when they're conducting themselves with me. I'm looking more for energy. I'm feeding off of their energy and I'm starting to realize, can you handle high energy kids? Can you handle getting involved with kids? Can you handle programming with kids? And that's what I'm looking for. Not really mistake driven, but.
Do you prefer a long, experienced, detailed resume on a few pages or an easy, 1-page, right to the point resume?
I'm a less is more person, so I do appreciate a more to the point resume. It's hard when it is long and drawn out. It's hard to, you want to keep the reader's interest, right? So when I'm teaching these workshops too, that's the first thing I say is less is more. If you want to say that you're dependable and you have high energy, figure out how to say that in a small statement, not a long statement or not multiple sentences. You want to be able to keep it short and sweet.
References on a resume, important or not important?
Very important. I'm okay with people saying it's more of a preference thing. Like I said, a resume is a tool to get your interview. It's kind of marketing yourself. If you say references available upon request, I'm okay with that. If you want to give them to me right away, I'm also okay with that. But in these positions, when you're working with kids, I absolutely do follow through and I do check resume references for sure if I'm shortlisting them for an interview. And if I like them in the interview, I'm always contacting their references and their direct experiences before they would work for me.
Do you prefer emailed resumes or dropped off resumes?
I've had both. Again, I'm not a stickler on either. I think that it's a preference thing. I think email is easy. A lot of these kids are students. A lot of them are in university in Winnipeg or what have you, and they don't always have the time to make the time to come drop it off. It does not hinder your chances of getting the position if you make the effort. For me anyways, this is just myself speaking. If you come in here, you ask for me by name, you drop off a resume. I appreciate the gesture, but I understand that the convenience of email, and it's okay.
What advice would you give to someone wanting to apply for a position with your company to help them get the position?
Just, when you're working with kids, I think it's more about the energy. Like if you have the high energy to be able to be with kids all day long and play with them and have programming for them and create games and opportunities for them to be able to have fun during the summer, then that's a big thing. It's when I'm interviewing people, it's all about the energy. Do you have high energy? Are you able to handle competitive kids? I mean, when you're doing sports, you get kids that are competitive and kids that can fight. So you need to learn how to diffuse the situation, and there's a lot of skills that come with working with kids. So that's what I'm looking for, is mostly energy.
Do you use an applicant tracking system to filter your candidates?
Oh, no, we don't have a filtering system, no.
Where and how do you advertise your job postings?
We use all of our local advertisements. Like Facebook is huge. You gotta adapt to what's happening in the world around you today for hiring people. So yeah, we use Facebook, our Town of Ste Anne Facebook page as well. We use our local job shop on Steinbach Online. We use the Carillon News. We use all the local things that we possibly can, and word of mouth is huge too. I'm looking for an employee. A lot of times, it's also developing relationships with the schools. So we have 3 schools in Ste Anne, and that's huge. So it's a lot of times shooting a message to the principal and saying, hey, listen, I'm hiring for my camp counselor position, which is a support position, which is under the camp director position. It'd be a great opportunity for someone in grade 11 or grade 12. Do you have anybody who you think would have high energy to be able to play with kids all day and things like that? So that's where I've gotten a lot of my employees in the past. So that's a really good connection to have, is the schools.
Would you encourage someone who does not have all the qualifications to apply regardless?
Absolutely. I think, I've had someone work for us that was going to university to be a psychologist. She wanted to be a children's psychologist, and she came and worked for us, and she really wanted that experience to work with kids and stuff. And it doesn't matter what your credentials are. You don't have to be going to school to be a teacher. You don't have to be a student in anything else other than wanting to work with kids and being good at it and thinking that that's going to work for you. That's the number one thing. When you're interviewing somebody or you're looking at their resume, them asking you the questions to see if it's a good fit is just as important. And I think that's oftentimes missed, is that they get here, they're so nervous, and 5 minutes of my job is opening them up to like, hey, listen, this is going to be fine. We're going to have a conversation, and just want to find out who you are behind what you're going for in school. Can you handle high energy kids? What would you do in this situation? And some of the hypothetical situations I'm telling them of what happens, fights between kids, what happens in school, it happens in camp. These are examples that I'm giving them of things that have happened in the past, and I'm looking for how they would have handled it. And it's not to get any other gauge other than, can you handle kids all day long? Youth between the ages of 5 and 12, which can be a challenge.
Does an applicant's residential location on a resume factor into your decision in the hiring process?
No, not at all. I get a lot of resumes from Steinbach. I've had some from Lorette. I've had some, if you can get to work, then I don't look at that at all. Of course, we love to support local. So I do look, like if you're from Ste Anne or you're from one of our schools. However, I don't discount anybody. We love giving local kids jobs and opportunities, but if we don't get the right candidate, then that's just what it is.